I am holding a piece of paper that my mother handed to a judge. It's not a birthday card. It's not a family photo. It is an itemized invoice. Line item 1, diapers 1996 to 1999, $3,200. Line item 45, orthodontics 2010, $5,400. Line item 102, emotional labor and guidance, $50,000. Total $485,000. That is the price tag my parents put on their love. That is what they are suing me for. Why? Because I refused to hand over 50% of my multi-million-dollar software company to my brother, a man whose biggest business achievement was selling oregano to middle schoolers and telling them it was weed. They say blood is thicker than water, but today I'm going to prove that ink on a contract is thicker than both. Let's talk about Apex Logistics. That's my company. I didn't inherit it. I didn't get a loan from Daddy. I built it in a studio apartment that smelled like mold and instant noodles. For 5 years, I didn't sleep more than 4 hours a night. I missed weddings. I missed funerals. I lost a fiance because I was married to the code. I built an algorithm that optimizes trucking routes. Boring? Yes. Profitable? Insanely. Last year, we hit $12 million in ARR, annual recurring revenue. Then there's my brother, Caleb. Caleb is 2 years older. He is the golden child. You know the type. He has potential. He's a visionary. Translation, he's 32, lives in my parents' basement, and has ideas for apps that already exist, but with crypto. My parents have bailed him out of everything. DUIS, paid for, gambling debts, covered, failed dropshipping business. They remortgaged their house to fund it. I was the invisible child, the one who didn't cause problems, so I didn't get attention. I was the plan B. The turkey was dry, the wine was cheap, and the tension was thick enough to choke on. My dad cleared his throat. The sound was like a gavel hitting wood. "Son," he said, pouring me a glass of wine. "We're so proud of Apex. It's really taking off." "Thanks, Dad," I said, genuinely touching. But my mom interrupted. "We're worried. You're working too hard. You need help. You need a partner." I laughed. "I have a team, Mom. I have 40 employees." "No," she said, her eyes hard. "You need family. Caleb is ready to step up. We've discussed it. We think it's fair that you bring Caleb on as a co-founder. 50% equity. He can handle the vision. You handle the technical stuff." I froze. My fork hovered halfway to my mouth. I looked at Caleb. He was smirking, scrolling on his phone. He didn't even look up. He expected it. 50%? I asked quietly. "Market value is roughly $40 million. You want me to give him $20 million. For what?" "For being your brother." My dad slammed his hand on the table. "We are family. We supported you. We fed you. We raised you. This success belongs to us, not just you. Caleb has had a hard run. It's his turn." I stood up. "No." "Excuse me," my mother whispered. I said no. Caleb can apply for a job in customer support. If he passes the interview, I'll hire him. But equity, he doesn't get a single share. I walked out. I thought that was the end of it. I was naive. 2 weeks later, I was served. Miller versus Miller. It wasn't a custody battle. It was a civil suit for restitution of child rearing costs and unjust enrichment. Their lawyer, a shady strip mall shark, argued that my success was built on the investment my parents made in my childhood. And since I was refusing to support the family unit, Caleb, they were calling in the debt. They were suing me for $500,000 in expenses plus damages for emotional distress. It hit the news. Tech CEO sued by parents for diaper money. My investors were spooked. My clients were asking questions. It was humiliating. I sat in the deposition room across from my mother. She looked at me with cold, dead eyes and read that list. Piano lessons 2004, $800. You quit after 6 months. That was a waste of our assets. I felt something break inside me. I realized then that I wasn't their son. I was a failed investment vehicle that finally paid out, and they were trying to cash the check. I looked at Caleb. He was wearing a suit that didn't fit, looking smug. He thought he had won. He thought I would settle to make the embarrassment go away. He thought I would give him the shares to shut them up. And that gave me an idea. Hired a forensic accountant, not to look at my books, to look at theirs. If we were talking about family finances, let's open the vault. It took 3 days. My accountant called me at 2 a.m. "You need to see this," he said. "We found it. When I was 12, my grandmother died. She left me a trust fund, $50,000 for college. I never saw that money. My parents told me there was no inheritance. The records showed they drained the account in 2008. Where did the money go? It went to pay off a settlement. Apparently, Caleb, at age 14, had stolen a car and crashed it into a storefront. To keep him out of juvie, my parents paid the store owner off. They used my college fund to keep Caleb out of prison. I had them, but I didn't want to just win the lawsuit. I wanted to teach them a lesson about business. They wanted 50%. Fine. I'd give it to them. The trap I called a settlement meeting. "I'm tired of fighting," I told them, looking defeated. "The bad press is hurting the company. I'll do it. I'll give Caleb 50% of the company." My parents beamed. Caleb high-fived my dad. "But," I added, "we need to do it fast. I am restructuring the company for a merger next month. Caleb needs to sign as a general partner today to be included in the payout." They didn't read the contract. They saw 50% ownership and general partner and signed so fast the ink smeared. My mom hugged me. "I knew you'd do the right thing." "Welcome to the board, partner," I said to Caleb. Here is what they didn't know. Apex Logistics wasn't one company. It was a structure. Apex IP Holdings owned the code. Apex Operations employed the staff. Apex Legacy was a shell company I used to hold high-risk liabilities and old debt from the startup phase. The contract Caleb signed transferred 50% ownership of Apex Legacy. He didn't check the EIN number. He didn't check the balance sheet. If he had, he would have seen that Apex Legacy held $0 in assets and $4 million in secured business loans that were coming due in 30 days. But the kicker? The contract made him a general partner in a limited liability company, LLC. You are protected. In a general partnership, which implies full management control, what they demanded, the partners are personally liable for the debts of the business. 30 days later, I am sitting in my new office at Apex IP Holdings. My phone rings. It's Caleb. He is screaming. "They're taking the house. Ethan, what did you do? The bank is seizing Mom and Dad's house." Correction, Caleb, I said, sipping my coffee. They are seizing your assets. And since you live with mom and dad, and their names are co-signed on your previous failed loans, which Apex Legacy absorbed, yes, they are taking the house. You tricked us, my father shouted from the background. We'll sue you. Read the contract, Dad, I replied. Subsection 4, paragraph B. Partner assumes full liability for all existing debt instruments. You wanted him to be a real partner, right? You wanted him to share the burden. Well, he's sharing it. But we're family, my mom sobbed. How could you do this to your family? You sent me an invoice for my childhood, I said, my voice dropping to a whisper. You stole my grandmother's inheritance to pay for Caleb's crimes. You don't have a son anymore. You have a creditor. I hung up. I blocked their numbers. I watched the foreclosure auction online 3 months later, strangely seeing my childhood home, the house where I was ignored, the basement where Caleb played video games while I studied, being sold to a stranger. It didn't make me sad. It felt like closing a bad deal. Caleb is currently working. He has to. His wages are garnished for the next 20 years. He works at a car wash. My parents live in a 1-bedroom rental. They blame me. They tell everyone I'm the devil. Maybe I am. But as I look at my clean, quiet apartment, and I look at my bank account that no one can touch, I realize something. The price of freedom was high, but the ROI, it was worth every penny.